I'm Barnard, daughter and only child of Harvey F. Barnard, the original author of the National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act, or NESARA. For over 2 decades, the name NESARA has been twisted, misrepresented, and buried under layers of conspiracy theories. But the truth? It's written in my father's own words, in his book, Draining the Swamp, the NESARA Story, and in the original bill he worked tirelessly to create. This channel is here to set the record straight. You'll find real history about Harvey, direct insights from his work, and honest conversations about what NESARA was truly meant to be. No hype, no distortion, just truth. If you're ready to learn the facts, challenge the myths, and rediscover the original vision behind NESARA, welcome, you're in the right place. Subscribe, explore, and let's bring clarity back to the conversation. Hi, I'm Barnard, D for short. Welcome to the original NESARA by Harvey F. Barnard YouTube channel. It is my intent with this channel to bring clarity to the NESARA story. With that in mind, I will not debate anyone's beliefs, strongly held convictions, spirituality, or political affiliations. What I have to say is for everyone. And with that in mind also, I ask that you keep your comments and questions respectful to us and to each other. I thought we would spend this first video learning some history about my dad. As you may know, my father was Harvey Francis Barnard, author of the National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act. We can clear up a misconception right there. It is stabilization. I'm not quite sure how it got changed to security. Maybe somebody out there knows, and if you do, drop me a comment, or better yet, go to the website and send me an email. This is one of the copies of the bill that he actually brought up to Washington in the 90s. So, with that being said, let's learn a little bit of history about Harvey. Harvey was born in 1941 in Ruston, Louisiana. He grew up in Minden, Louisiana, where he attended Minden High School. He met my mom. He went to Louisiana Tech College. I was born in Minden, Louisiana in 1963. We moved to Baton Rouge in the mid-60s, where my dad worked as an instrument tech and systems troubleshooter. He worked in different plants, helping them solve their operational issues. A systems troubleshooter is someone who examines technical systems, identifies problems, and develops a solution. We were an average middle-class family for the time. Both my mom and dad worked, but we took annual skiing vacations and other trips every year. As I grew up, I remember my father as a kind, intelligent man. He loved the sciences and photography. He was an avid constitutionalist and historian. I remember he was always reading. In his free time, he always had a book in his hand. He was for tax reformation even back then. I remember going to the United States Post Office on tax day to help him hand out information. But my father was in no way political. In fact, one of the things that is so central to his bill is it does not matter who is in the White House. I married my high school sweetheart in the early 80s, and my parents saw that as their opportunity to travel due to the nature of his work, developing solutions for different instrument problems and teaching systems theory. They were able to live and work in places like North Dakota, Sacramento, Sutter Creek, California, and in Colorado, which was one of their favorite places. In later years, subsequently back to Baton Rouge. While my dad and I were rarely in the same state, we were very close. My husband and I went to as many places as possible for visits. Harvey was inspired by something one of his college professors once said. The same method we use to troubleshoot instruments in plant operations can be used to solve any problem. This got him to thinking, and he was off to write the bill. He finished it in the late 80s, and in the early 90s, he and a friend went to Washington. Of course, they received the usual, "Thank you, sir, we'll take a look" rhetoric. Harvey had a website back then, NESARA.org, upon which he released the bill into the public domain in 1996. I believe that's where the trouble began, but we'll cover that in a later video. He continued to campaign and raise awareness for what he believed was a natural right. Monetary rights are a natural right. Your time and labor should not be subject to the winds of political change. In addition, he could see the storm coming down the road and clearly identified the flaws in our current monetary policy. While Harvey had enjoyed relatively good health his whole life, he loved snow skiing, scuba diving, as well as horseback riding. He unfortunately suffered from a lifelong heart defect, and his health began to dwindle as the years went by. Several years before his death, he had a valve installed, and that gave him a little bit more time. But eventually he succumbed to this issue at the age of 64 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at a local hospital on May 15, 2005. Shortly before that, he published his life's work, Draining the Swamp, the NESARA Story. My mom kept up the cause for a short time. She eventually packed up his work in storage. And 17 years later, that's when I jumped back into the mix. In my next video, I'll be telling my story and why, after all these years, I decided to pick up the baton for this cause. I'd like to end today by saying this. It's well past time that we as Americans stop getting bogged down in the shadow stories and look at what's at stake. With the looming monster of digital currency and tokenization of our assets, which, in my opinion, is not as far off as others would think, I don't think we have a whole lot of time. If the election of President Trump has proved anything, is that if we come together with common sense and a common cause, we can accomplish anything. We're going to have to loudly and in unison let our voices be heard about what we will and will not accept with regards to our time, labor, and monetary policy. In future videos, I want to be discussing the merits of the original bill, some good, some bad, and I hope you'll join me and we can learn together. If you haven't already, please pick up a copy of his book. I've made it available on Barnes & Noble and on Amazon in Kindle and paperback format. And I hope that you enjoyed this, and hit that like button and leave a comment, and hope to see you next time. Thanks.